Welcome to my Asshole Podcast. Let's get into it. Welcome to my Asshole Podcast. Today is Tuesday, and boy, do we have a interesting episode for you lovely people this week. Hope you guys have been having a good start to your week. I know I haven't. I can't lie to you, man. Oh, goodness. The grind don't stop, though. You know what I mean? The grind don't stop no matter how hard the life gets on you, you know? You got to keep moving forward. Got to keep doing your thing. And I ain't going to lie to you. Doing the podcast, recording it and all that stuff is my nice little getaway from all the bullshit that's happening either at work or in personal life and all that other stuff. You know what I mean? So when life be life, and you got to find those little moments of, you know, where you get to sip the lemonade. You know what I mean? Yeah. That is something where this podcast is definitely where I can enjoy it. And I'm excited to get into today's episode. Today's thread is a pretty interesting one. Today's thread is, what was your worst drunken night and what happened? All right? So let's see what some crazy ass drunken nights happened to y'all mother lovers. What was your worst drunken night and what happened? Tijuana, brother got thrown in jail. Crooked cops took all our money. Fun times. Yo! That's crazy. What did he do to get thrown into jail, bruh? Like, what do you got to do in Mexico to get thrown into jail? You know? And then on top of that, man, whoo, I've always heard that Mexican jails ain't the best. You know what I mean? Like, that's crazy. Absolutely insanity. What is your worst drunken night and what happened? I got so drunk when I first tried alcohol with some specialty wine mixed with a wine cooler, and I hallucinated dancing cactuses in sombreros with maracas, and I started dancing along with them and telling everyone about them. My family had a good laugh over it, bro. What did they put in your drink, man? Because whatever they put in your drink, it sure wasn't alcohol, my guy. You know what I mean? Like, are you sure they didn't put a little acid in your alcohol? Like, you know what I mean? They spike your shit with a little something, because, bruh, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know about that. I don't know if that was just some alcohol, because I ain't ever hallucinated some shit drinking alcohol. You know what I mean? Like, I've never hallucinated some shit drinking alcohol. That's just never happened to me. So the fact that you were hallucinating off of some alcohol is crazy. You know, like, that just tells me some shit was in there. Man, that's crazy. Oh goodness, that one's too long. What is your worst drunken night and what happened? I almost drowned in my own vomit. Luckily, my boyfriend found me on the floor and slapped my back and flipped me on my side. That's disgusting. Oh my God, that's disgusting. Oh my God. Oh. Yeah, bro. That's why whenever I'm drunk, I always sleep on my stomach. You know, or I try to sleep on my side. I sleep on my left side. You know what I mean? I always try, because, man, I remember what, like, freaked me out with that is, if you ever watched the show Breaking Bad, when homeboy has that, like, hot ass landlady or whatever, and then, you know, they get into a relationship and shit, and homeboy, instead of like she's like throwing up and like choking on her own vomit, and homeboy doesn't like flip her on the side and save her, and she just dies right there in the bed. Ever since I saw that, I was just like, oh shit, I need to be more careful, because that can happen. You know what I mean? Like, you can choke on your own shit. Like, nah, bro. You know what I mean? Oh, God damn, that's crazy. That is absolutely crazy. All right. What is your worst drunken night and what happened? Went to a hall party where my friend's band was playing, drank a 750 milliliter of Tranquari gin with pineapple juice, completely blacked out. Later, I was told what happened. I got into a fight with my live-in boyfriend, love of my life, got kicked out of the party, continued arguing with him outside, and threw the ring he gave me at him. Oh, shit. Went home with my ex-boyfriend, whom I had dumped for my current boyfriend. They were best friends before that happened. Had sex with my ex. Woke up at his place confused as hell with the worst hangover and no recollection of the prior event. Went home and realized I had ruined my relationship with my current boyfriend. After that, we were on again, off again until he got abusive one time, blaming the night for it. It was never the same, and eventually we broke up for good. It took me a while to realize I had a serious drinking problem and that every bad thing that ever happened to me, there were so many, was due to me getting blacked out wasted, so I stopped drinking like that. I still dream of that guy, oddly enough, and to this day, I still regret everything. Yeah, because that man was the love of your life, and you fucked it up. You fucked it all up. Bro! Oh, man. Damn. That's crazy, dude. That is a night right there. The fact that I don't know if you broke up with your boyfriend, because I you know what I mean? But then you go with your ex and you fuck him, and then you're waking up and you're just like, oh, what's going on? The fact that he took you back over that, crazy. The fact that he took you back over that, man. And I can see why the relationship was never the same, because, you know, if you were willing to go do all that just because you were drunk, imagine if you went out with friends or something like that and happened to get drunk and the shit you would do. You know what I mean? Like, bro. Yeah, man. I'm glad that you realized that you had a drinking problem and that, you know, you're trying to fix that and be better. That is good. I am glad and happy for you on that. But yeah, you did fuck up. Big time. Big time you fucked up. Because that is terrible, man. That is terrible. The fact that you went through all that. Man. Okay. What was your worst drunken night and what happened? My friend bought me a handle 1.75 liter of rot gut HRD vodka for my 20th birthday. I don't know what the fuck that is. Apparently it's a type of vodka. Okay. I put it in my backpack, bought a half gallon of orange juice and went over to some friend's house. I was not a drinker, but I was ready to learn. One of my friends made me screwdrivers. I drank them. They seemed stronger as I went along, but by the end it was straight vodka. We went out. It was the day after Halloween and people were partying. I petted a dog that was covered in scabs. People got suddenly tall as I fell on a fire. I cooled off on the trunk of a car for who knows how long. Then my friends tried to get me home, but I kept running away into busy traffic. Bro, you are lucky you didn't die. They tried to get me to puke by laying my face on a puby pissy toilet. No luck. I woke up terrified because my last memory was the car trunk. I urinated in my bed. I wasn't right for weeks. I think it permanently damaged my brain and I'm lucky to be alive. Yeah, you are lucky to be alive, bro. Man, running out into busy traffic because you don't want to go home, bro. My thing is, like, don't get me wrong. I've had times, you know, where me and my best friend, we go out, we just get absolutely shit-faced drunk because we know we have a hotel room, we're not driving, you know what I mean? We're doing a party bus thing and they're taking us from bar to bar and all that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? We do our thing, but it's never gotten to a point where we've done some crazy shit. I would say the craziest thing that we ever did was eat some shitty street tacos. You know what I mean? Like, bro, you know what I mean? Like, that's crazy to me, son. The fact that, like, the fact that you did all that, you fell in a fire, that's wild. My man fell in a fire, bro. Like, like, how the fuck does that happen? How do you fall into a fire? Like, what are you doing, man? And then my man said, I cooled off on a car. Like, what are you doing? Oh, my Lord. That's crazy, dude. That is crazy. What is your worst drunken night and what happened? Went on a pub crawl in Prague with my friend, and the first hour was all you can drink. I ended up regaining consciousness on Charles Bridge, which was around 2 kilometers from the club we were last at. My wallet, phone, and keys were missing. Oh, somehow my directionally challenged ass stumbled back to that club, convinced them to let me back in, and searched all 3 floors asking people if they seen my friend. I ended up finding him on the top floor, where I was found out that I actually had given him my things because I knew how the night was about to turn out. Best night ever, bro. Man, our friends do that too. We do that too. We understand that we must give our most important things to the DD and have them hold on to our wallets, have them hold on to our phones, and have them hold on to our keys, because drunk motherfuckers will get pickpocketed. They will lose shit, because motherfuckers will do that to you. They will, like, we've had that happen before. I remember there was a time we were at a club, right? And I was dancing with this girl and we were having a good time, and this dude came in and he literally was pretending like he was drunk. We thought he was actually drunk, and he literally, like, fell on top of the girl that, you know, I was dancing with. And I'm like, bro, what the fuck is wrong with you, man? What are you doing? I was helping her up and stuff. And after a while, she realized, wait a minute, I don't have my phone. And I was like, oh shit. I was like, the dude that fell on top of you took the phone. And she's like, oh no. And mind you, you know, we were both drunk. So it was a thing where we didn't really think anything of it at that time, because we were so shit faced, and it was what it was. But homeboy pickpocketed her ass. And yeah, man, because, you know, girls keep their phone in their back pocket. And so that's how he was able to slip it out. And it was just one of those things where it's like, dude, that's why we always give the DD all our shit. And we're like, hey, man, you got to babysit the stuff, because we know that we're either going to get pickpocketed, we're going to lose it, it's going to fall out of our pocket, it's going to do something. It's going to find its way somewhere. The fact that you went back to that club and somehow found your friend, that's a miracle within itself, bro. Have you ever tried to find somebody at a club? It's damn near almost impossible to find somebody in a club. Almost impossible. Don't even get me started with like raves and like festivals and shit. Oh, you're never finding your friends. You're never finding your friends, especially at raves. Raves are crazy. I see why like people at raves do the whole totem thing, because you are not finding your friends, bro. You're just not doing it. I remember the last time I went to a rave, and I went with a girl that I was like interested in at the time, and we were trying to find her friends. It took us like 2 hours. 2 hours to find her friends. And then on top of that, cell service is like the worst it's ever been. You know, it's one of those things where it's just like, it's like as if in the grounds of the rave, for some reason, everybody's phone is just nuked. You know what I mean? Everybody's phone is just absolutely nuked. And like I said, I get why they do the totem shit, because, bro, you can't find anybody. I remember we lost her brother one time, and we luckily found that guy. We luckily found him because, you know, we kind of like staged one area, and then we were like, okay, you go out and you look, and we'll stay here. And then, you know, we were like, ah, shit, I couldn't find him. Come back. And they're like, okay, I'll go out and try to find him. They went out, and then the third person that went out finally found him. But yeah, bro, that I'm so surprised you found your friend. That's crazy, man. Okay, what was your worst drunken night and what happened? got set on fire. Don't remember how, but thankfully I didn't have serious injuries or permanent damage. How? Well, he said he didn't remember how he got set on fire, but bro, what? That is like, what? I ain't gonna lie to you, bro. I've gotten drunk at bonfires and gotten drunk at, campfires and all that kind of stuff. Never once, and not just me, but even the people I was with, no one's ever fallen in the fire or caught on fire. That's crazy. What the hell, man? Y'all had to have done some dumb shit where you just thought, oh yeah, no. Like, watch this thing, I'm going to put my hand in the fire and I'm not going to get caught on fire, and your shirt probably got caught on fire or some shit. Like, bro, what the hell, man? Makes for a great story, though. I ain't going to lie to you. And, yeah, you're lucky. You're very lucky you didn't have, third-degree burns and shit like that, because that would suck. Man, that would suck. That'd kill the vibe as quick as possible. What was your worst drunken night and what happened? The night before Halloween, I got wasted, really wasted. I woke up after 3 hours. I was already at the bar drinking to celebrate the Dodgers and Halloween. So I did 2 days on a bender and I needed 1 day to recover that. Bro, that's crazy. I don't know how people back to back drink. Usually 1 day of heavy drinking and I'm praying to Jesus I will never do this again. I promise you. I ain't ever touching alcohol again, Jesus. Just get me through this. I ain't gonna lie to you, bro. I be pleading. Oh my God, I'll be asking God for a second chance. I'll be sitting there never again. Just get me through this, Jesus. Help me out. I don't want it anymore. I ain't gonna lie to you, bro. I ain't gonna lie to you. There's no way I could wake up and be hung the fuck over and be like, you know how to get over hungover? Drink more. Those motherfuckers are wild. I can't do that. I can't do the whole, 2-3 day bender bullshit. Nah, man. After 1 day, your boy is done. Your boy is done and pleading to Jesus, please help me. I ain't gonna lie to you. I'm out here just bargaining my life away. I'll go to the soup kitchen. I promise. Bro. All right, what was your worst drunken night and what happened? I blacked out, woke up at sunrise in front of a store, lost my hat and my wallet. The worst fucking feeling. That was the last time I drank, bro. That's crazy. That, man, I guarantee you somebody jacked your shit. They probably thought you were homeless or something. You know what I mean? Either that or they were just all right. They probably kicked you a few times to see if you would wake up. And then they just dug they shit. Man. I've only blacked out once. Once, maybe twice drinking. And never have I actually been that fucked up. To the point where I'm sleeping outside or some shit. I remember the last time I can remember blacking out is I remember it was my best friend Alex, and then it was our mutual friend, and we all went to a bar one night and we got absolutely fucking hammered. We just got so goddamn hammered. And I remember my boy Alex had to carry me out of the fucking club because I didn't want to leave. You know what I mean? I didn't want to leave, and I was all fucked up, and I didn't want to leave. And he was like, nah, bro, we got to go. Come on, man. We got to go. And so he carried me out, and then, he put me in the back seat of the car. And I remember we were driving home, and then I blacked out. And then when I came to, I was home, and I was like, oh shit, when did we get home? And he was like, oh yeah, dude, we stopped at his house. I had to pull you out of the car, put you into my car, and then I got you into the house. And I was like, no way. And so then, he had to carry me to my door. He opened my door. I had to give him my keys, and he opened the door. He took me all the way to my bedroom, you know what I mean? And it was one of those things where I was so fucked up apparently. I didn't know where my bedroom was. And like I ran into the wall and shit. Yeah, and then he like finally got me into my bed and he was like, "You good, bro? You need some water or anything like that?" You know, and I was like, "Nah, I'm good." And then I woke up the next morning and he texted me. He was like, "You alive?" I think we've told the story, that story once before on the podcast. I'm not 100% sure, but yeah. I that's the only time I like remember getting blacked out. I blacked out another time, and I would have to get him on the show to talk about it because obviously he was the only one that knew what happened when I blacked out. So yeah, I've only ever blacked out twice, but I've never, had it to a point where I never had it to a point where I like slept outside or some shit like that. You know what I mean? I've never had it to a point like that. That's crazy. All right. What is your worst drunken night and what happened? I got called a slur by some rude folks on my way home from a party and decided that just me versus 3 of them was a cool idea. Oh, bruh. Oh, so I called them all kinds of names back and ended up getting my nose broken. Bad choices all around. Ooh. Yeah, I ain't gonna lie to you. That liquid courage sometime be fucking you up, bro. I ain't gonna lie to you. I have anytime I have some friends that are, in the Marines and stuff like that. And anytime we go out drinking, these niggas always want to fight somebody. And I'm like, bruh, I ain't gonna lie to you. Every single time, there's maybe like once or twice where we went out, drank, got a little fucked up, and they didn't want to fight nobody. But 9 times out of 10, we go somewhere and one of them, because there's 4 of them, and at least one of them want to fight somebody. And I'm like, bro, come on, man. What are you doing? He like, nah, bro, he fucking looked at me funny, man. Nah, fuck that guy. And I guarantee I've told this one story before on the podcast. I don't know what episode it was, but I know I've told this story where we were all sitting at the table and my boy was eyeing a girl and he didn't know that she had a boyfriend. And so he walked up to her and was talking to her, this and that. And then the boyfriend came into the picture, and then his drunk ass was talking shit to the boyfriend like, nah, she want me and this and that, and blah, blah, blah. And obviously she, with the boyfriend being around now, she ain't flirty no more. And she's like, what are you talking about? No, we were just talking, blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean? And so then, they got, we saw them leave and go outside, and I was like, yo, hey, he went outside. And so then we went outside. They were like around the corner. It wasn't really like an alleyway. It was it was one of those parking lots, where you go in and you pay for the little ticket and you leave it on your dashboard and shit. And so it was one of those little tickets. And so we were in that parking lot, and this nigga had to fight him, man. And I was like, oh, bruh. And he had his homeboys and all that kind of stuff. That shit was terrible. And I was like, bro, over a bitch, bro. And I'm like, dude, this ain't even your girl, my guy. You out here fighting for this chick? Like, what are you doing, man? Oh, it was all bad. That shit was all bad. All right, we're going to do this last one and then one in the thread. What was your worst drunken night and what happened? Had 4 sex on the beaches and like 10 Jello shots. I remember walking down the sidewalk outside the dance club, and everything was tilting back and forth and was blurry. I couldn't walk straight. People would try to talk to me, but it sounded like the adults on Charlie Brown, and I couldn't make sense of what they were saying. People were hanging out and talking to each other, but it all sounded muffled, and the trumpet sound. I do remember hearing someone say, oh, it's a wig, but I don't know what the context was. Next thing, I'm lying on my bed, butt naked except with socks on, with a used condom on the floor.
Hey, yo, what the fuck?
Okay. I have a hazy, vague memory of a girl riding me, and that's all. I don't know who she was, but when I came out of my hangover, I checked all around my apartment to see if she stole anything, but thank God she didn't. What the fuck, dude? That is a crazy night. How did you meet this girl if you were so fucked up? How did y'all get to the point where you're able to have sex if you couldn't understand anybody? Like, what? Like, my man's Riz must have just been so through the roof to the point where he didn't even have to hear what she was saying. He was like, damn, girl, you was beautiful as fuck. And she's like, and he was like, yeah, most definitely. Shit. I do stuff to you, girl. I ain't gonna lie. And she's just man. He's just like, yeah, let's go back to my spot. Let's go back. Let's go back to my spot. Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it. She's just like, man. You know, like, bro. Oh, for you to patent some shit like that is crazy. For you to patent some shit like that is absolutely wild, man. Hey, I'm glad she didn't steal nothing. You know what I mean? This nigga said I woke up in my bed butt naked with just socks on and a condom on my dick. That's crazy, man. Oh, shit. Hey, at least you survived. You know what I mean? At least you survived. That's crazy. But that's going to go ahead and be the end of that thread, man. I hope you guys enjoyed that thread. That thread was a hootenanny. I ain't going to lie to you, man. Hey, people getting drunk is crazy, and the shit they do while they're drunk is wild. Both men and women. Both y'all are wild. You know what I mean? Goodness gracious. I knew when I chose this thread, I was like, it's going to be good. It's going to be good because you motherfuckers got some wild ass stories. You know, like I said, I got a couple wild drunk stories too. You know what I mean? I get it. You know, you have those moments where you want to go out, you want to have fun, you want to party, and that just seems like the life, you know, that you want to live. I ain't going to lie to you. That shit is so short-lived. I won't lie. I did it until I was maybe like, 26, 27. So when I was probably 22 to 26 is when I did it. And then I just got to a point where I was just like, look, man, every time I go out to drink, the next day I am out here bargaining with Jesus, man. Yeah, I'm dead serious. I'll be bargaining with that motherfucker. I'm like, hey, man, I love you, bro. Please help me out. Help me survive, because them hangovers be getting bad, bro. They be getting bad to the point where you feel like you're dying. I know some people don't get that, but for me, I was getting that. It was bad. It was all bad. But you guys let me know what you think about it in the comments. Definitely let me know down in the comments if you had a crazy drunken story. All right? Definitely let me know. I'm going to hop to announcements, and then we'll get right on into our scenarios. So, patreon.com/MyTheAsshole Get an exclusive episode every single Friday, as well as being able to send in your scenario to be featured on the Tuesday and Sunday show. If you are a little skeptical and you want to know what it's like, you know, with the Patreon episodes and stuff like that, last week on Friday we did do the November free Patreon episode. Definitely check that episode out, see if it's something that you like, and you might be like, oh, you know, it might be nice to get an episode on Friday, you know what I mean? So definitely check that out. If you are a 7-day free trial member or a free paid member, then you can listen to our entire catalog of over 100 hours of Patreon episodes on Spotify, as long as you're a 7-day free trial member or you are a full paid member. So definitely check that out. Audio listeners, thank you guys so much for all of the support you guys have been showing. Thank you so much for coming out every single week, downloading the episodes, watching us, supporting us. All that is great. Thank you so much for downloading, rating us 5 stars on your preferred platform, all that good stuff. It is very, very helpful, and I do appreciate that stuff. Follow us on Instagram, TikTok, as well as YouTube. Subscribing to us on YouTube, all that is free, and it helps out tremendously. So thank you guys so much. Appreciate you. Without further ado, let's get right on into today's scenarios. All right, we got our first one. Am I the asshole? Husband lied for 7 years. What did he lie about, girl? Oh shit. Let's get our tea out. You know what I mean? I, 34 female, met my husband, 39 male, over 10 years ago, but officially became an item in January 2015. In January 2016, we got engaged, bought a house in August 2016, and planned our wedding for September 2017. All was good. A month or so before our wedding, I went away with a friend for the weekend to see a gig. The next day, when I texted and asked how his evening went, as I knew he went out with a colleague, I got a vague response about it being good and meeting up with a friend after. I asked who and got shunned with an answer of just a friend, someone I knew from the gym where he worked at the time. Now, we have always been completely honest with each other, named friends, and even described them if the other person is likely to have seen them. We live in a small town. I tried to ask him about it, but I got nowhere. Even after getting home and writing him a letter, I still got nowhere and continually said nothing happened. I put it to the side and we got married, got a dog, and later had a child, now 5 years old. Our marriage hasn't been perfect, and over the last year, arguments or disputes we have never shouted at each other have escalated. After one particular argument, 7 years of our marriage, when he said he has never given me a reason not to trust him, I brought up this example. He finally caved and said she kissed him and he was embarrassed and didn't say anything. Ooh.
Bruh.
Uh-oh. Let me see. I am furious, not because of what happened, but how easily and for how long he lied about it. He thinks it's all okay, but I am struggling. Am I the asshole here for not letting it go? I mean, how could you? I mean, of course he could let it go because it happened so long ago and then he just kind of forgot about it, but you just found out. You know what I mean? Like, you just found out about this. So how the fuck can you let it go? You know? Like, let's be 1000% honest here. Like, how can you let it go? I don't think you would be able to let it go because you just found out. This is shocking as shit. You know what I mean? Now, some people would argue, like, you found out, he came clean to you. It was just a kiss. You know what I mean? So, you know, you staying with him wouldn't be that bad. But at the same time, I would understand if you did leave. Just because it's a thing where if you're willing to keep this lie from me for so long, what else are you keeping from me? What else haven't you told me? What else is there? You know, even if there isn't anything else, you don't know that. You wouldn't feel like he's being honest at that point. You would feel like, nah, I don't think that you're being 1000% honest with me because of the simple fact that, you know, you lied about this for so long. So how can I believe you that there isn't anything else that you've lied about, or there isn't anything else that you're hiding? You know what I mean? Like, I don't think you're the asshole for not letting it go because it's fresh as hell for you. You just found out, and you found out 7 years later. That's some crazy shit. You know. Now, of course, I get it. You know, you guys have a kid and you might want to work this out for the kid. And I would 100% understand that. As you know, because according to him, he hasn't done anything like that since that incident happened. But again, I would understand why you wouldn't even be able to believe that. You know what I mean? Like, have you not done anything since that? Because I don't know at this point. You could have kissed another bitch. You could have kissed that girl again. You could have been having a whole ass relationship with this girl and I wouldn't have even known. You know what I mean? Like, y'all could have been doing the monster mash and I wouldn't have been knowing. You know what I mean? Like, that's what's so tough for her right now. Is the fact that, you know, she looks at it like, yeah, you could sit here and tell me that, you haven't done anything like that since then, or that, you love me and that, you're not hiding anything else. It was just that. But it's like, it's going to be difficult for her to believe you. Now, again, it's one of those things where if you want to work it out because you guys do have a kid and you look at it like, well, he hasn't been all that shady, so maybe I could believe him. I mean, that's up to you at this point. I don't think you're an asshole for like not letting it go just because, I mean, this is fresh, hot off the press for you. You know what I mean? So like, of course, he's going to be like, oh, I'll let it go. But it's like, nigga, because for you, it was 7 years ago. For me, it's right now. So I can 1,000% understand where she's coming from. You know what I mean? You're finding that shit out just now. So, again, I look at it like, if you do stay with the dude, you know what I mean? Again, you'll just have to be like, hey, I'm going to need 100% transparency. I'm going to need to be involved with all your conversations, with everybody you talk to, all this kind of stuff, just 1,000% transparency. And that over time can give you the confidence to be able to believe him again. You know what I mean? But if you don't, and you decide to say, hey, I'm taking my kid and we're leaving, then, that's an option too. And I can see why. Because again, how can you trust him? You know what I mean? How can you trust that it was just this for 7 years? How can you know that it wasn't this and something else? What else are you hiding? If you say that you didn't do anything else ever since that, how do I know that that's the truth? So I can understand both sides of it. You know what I mean? I definitely can understand both sides of it. And I support either one that you choose. You know what I mean? Because I understand both sides. So you guys let me know what you think about it in the comments, though, because that is a crazy story. Absolutely crazy. All right, am I the asshole for not sleeping with a girl who said no, even though she later told me I should have? So you slept with her. Okay. So you slept with her even though she said no. Even though she later told me I should have? Oh, okay, hold on. I'm sorry. I'm reading this wrong. Am I the asshole for not sleeping with a girl who said no, and then she later said, well, you should have slept with me. You should have slept with me. I think it's a situation where he looked at it like, bitch, no means no. Like, what are you talking about? But I think she was one of those girls that she enjoys the chase and enjoys the game and, wants him to try harder because she's already made up her mind. Like, oh, yeah, I am going to have sex with this guy. I just want him to try harder. Let's see. So I've been chatting with this girl who has a boyfriend for over 4 years.
Bruh.
Nigga, what are you doing? What are you doing? Huh? Why are you talking to a girl with a boyfriend? Fuck wrong with you? All right. Let's keep reading. Our chats gradually became more intimate and we started sharing explicit pictures and videos with each other. So she's cheating. She's cheating, nigga. Like, bro, I don't get why dudes enjoy being with girls that are willing to openly cheat on their man, because it's one of those, I always say this, how you get her is how you're gonna lose her. Because if she willing to cheat on you or willing to cheat on him with you, she willing to cheat on you with Joe Schmo. Like, come on, man. God damn it. And things were leading towards meeting and having sex. We finally got to that moment. She suddenly broke down crying. She said she felt bad and didn't want to do it. I asked her several times if she was sure, and she kept saying she didn't want to, so I stopped immediately. We just laid in bed, cuddled, and that was it. A few days later, she told me that I didn't have the balls and that I should have just taken her and fucked her even though she said no. That really messed with my head, and I genuinely thought stopping was the right thing to do. She was crying and saying she didn't want to. If I had gone through with it, it would have felt like assaulting her to me. Now I'm questioning myself. Did I do the right thing or did I mess up somehow? No, you did the right thing, bro. You did the right thing, and you want to know why you did the right thing? Because this could have went terribly bad for you. All right. Imagine if you did have sex with her. Imagine if you were one of those dudes that was like, oh, no, come on. It's okay. Like, don't worry. You know, we can have sex and we can do this and it's going to feel great. It's going to be the best because that's what she wanted you to do. You know what I mean? She wanted you to talk her into it so that way she has plausible deniability that when her boyfriend then finds out, guess what? You're the manipulative rapist. You manipulated her into having sex with you. You know what I mean? Because she cried and said no, and then you sat there and manipulated her into doing it, even though she didn't want to do it. Like, trust me, that was the game that she's playing at, bro. And by you saying no, and by you being like, no means no, and I ain't doing it, she doesn't have that plausible deniability now, and that's why she sat there and said, oh, you didn't have the balls. Like, no, bitch, I'm not getting caught up with your bullshit. That's what I'm not doing. So let's be 100% here. The fact that you didn't fall for this bullshit saved you, man. It saved you. All right, I'm going to be honest with you. It saved you because messing with a girl that has a boyfriend, she is looking for any plausible deniability. So that way when she gets caught, it's not her fault. You know what I mean? I'm telling you, you dodged a bullet. Don't fuck with girls who got boyfriends, bro. Just don't do it. Because one, you're possibly going to get shot over some coochie. All right, let's be honest here. A lot of dudes are fucking simps and they can't stand to lose their girl. And so they will harm you and possibly end your life over a girl. Two, the girl might set you up to a point where, you know, she might make you look like an assaulter. She'll go over there and tell her boyfriend, oh, he raped me. Oh, he raped me. And then guess what? Now, you know, the dude is just like, oh, no, fuck that dude. Like, either it could lead back to, you know, one, and he gets violent with you, or it leads to them filing this whole lawsuit on you and all this kind of stuff, taking you to civil court, all this bullshit. And it's just not worth it, bro. And then you're sitting there, even if you're accused as a graper, that just destroys your credibility, that destroys your reputation as a man, and it fucks you up. It fucks you up for good. Even if you're acquitted and you got off, they're still going to be like, nah, man, you know, you could lose your job, you could lose opportunities, all kinds of stuff over an accusation of being raped or being a rapist. Telling you, man, you did the right thing. 1,000%, because that's what she wanted. She wanted plausible deniability so that when she got caught, she can be like, oh no, he talked me into it. I cried and said no, but he talked me into it. So I'm telling you, bro, you did the right thing. 1,000% you did the right thing. You guys let me know what you think about it in the comments, though. On to our next one. I think my ex-boyfriend may have slept with his sister.
Hey, yo, what the fuck?
Okay. Huh. All right. Here we go. I really need to get this off my chest and see if if I am overreacting. I, 25 female, dated my ex, 25 male, for just under a year. We lived together and had a cat together. Although, throughout the relationship, there were multiple things that made me uncomfortable, but I worried something more serious may have happened. Details. He would always play video games with his sister for hours, sometimes 12 plus hours. A week before we broke up, we bought a rug and our Halloween costumes. Everything seemed fine. At a wedding we attended together, I left the receipt because I wasn't feeling well. His sister did not like me because of this. My mom did not like the fact that I questioned getting our cat and was having doubts. He told me that he wanted his sister to be our best man at his wedding, wearing a suit. I thought he was joking. He told me he wouldn't want to buy me flowers because I would just let them die. One time he did buy me flowers only because he was buying a bouquet for his sister. The fuck? Her flowers were huge and thriving. Mine kept wilting, and second he gave them to me, he said I was irresponsible. On a Friday, he left me without telling me to go see his sister out of town. He returned that night at midnight. The next day we broke up. Him and his sister were forcing me out of my own home. I left the house we were living in. She kept saying, "You really think it is a good idea to be there when we move his things?" I said, "Yes. I am not leaving my house to be destroyed." And he goes, "We are getting his things and leaving, end of story." She was trying to control the situation. The worst of it all, his sister would always ask about his penis size and asked if he was big. She wanted him to show her different things around the house to compare his penis to. This felt extremely inappropriate to me. Now, after everything, I feel like someone or something happened between them that night he went out of town. I can't stop imagining it. I am feeling sick just thinking about it. I know this is a very heavy accusation, but I don't want to unfairly assume. But the combination of his behavior, her behavior, the trip, and the inappropriate discussions made me seriously question what went on. Am I overreacting? That is definitely weird. You know what I mean? That is definitely weird. I don't think anything has happened. I think the sister wants something to happen. Because if something already happened, she would know, you know what I mean, what his penis size was, and she would already know, you know what I mean, because she would have already done something with it, whether she would have put it in her hand, put it in her mouth, or, you know, let him fuck her or whatever. But I think it's a thing where she wants something to happen. I don't think something has happened. Yeah. And so obviously, and I think it was a thing where she looked at you as kind of like an enemy or adversary. Like, oh, you know, she's the enemy. Like, you know, she's taking my brother away from me. You know what I mean? Like, I definitely think she's kind of got a brother complex. Yeah, I mean, and she looks at it like, oh, any girl that dates my brother is not good enough. Like, I'm the only one that's good enough for him and stuff like that. So I definitely think there's something wrong with her. I don't know if there's something wrong with him. He just kind of seems like, you know, he's just close with his sister and he may not know what's going on. He may be looking at it like, nah, that's just my sister. We're close. And, you know, that's just what we do. And so he might be a little oblivious to it, but I don't think I think she's the one that has the ulterior motives where she's just like, nah, yeah, trying to get my brother's dick. Like, you know what I mean? I want to fuck my brother. Like, I want to know what's going on. I want to know what that's like. You know what I mean? And if I got to fake being friends with this bitch that I don't deserve him, then that's what I'm going to do. You know what I mean? So I don't think something has happened. I think she is wanting something to happen. Yeah. That's my assumption, if I'm being honest with you. Because that's just what it seems like with all the evidence that you've given. And of course, we could all be speculating, you know what I mean? But I think that's the most reasonable conclusion, if I'm being honest with you, is that the sister and him, you know, nothing has happened yet, but the sister definitely wants something to happen. So, again, you guys let me know what you think about that one in the comments, because that is a little crazy. You know what I mean? That is a little crazy, but it's not something that we haven't seen on the show, if I'm being honest with you. Yeah, I mean, we've had situations where brother and sister situations are happening and going on and all that. We've had, you know, step brother and sister, you know, shit happening. But, you know, the blood relation shit is kind of crazy. You know what I mean? It's kind of crazy. It's a little wild to me. I ain't gonna lie to you. A little wild to me. Like, hey, let me know what you think about it in the comments, though. All right. Am I overreacting? Wife tried to tell me texting isn't cheating. Oh, wow. Okay, a few months ago, my wife was caught texting another guy and she lied about it at first. We stayed together but kept avoiding talking about it. Last night, she was upset because she feels unappreciated. I'm like, wait a minute. First of all, I'm still hurt and we never talked about that. Second, how do you feel unappreciated? I pay every bill in the house except a $20 one, and she blows all her money to the point I have to put gas in her car and buy her cigarettes, and I don't even smoke. She consistently accuses me of cheating when I have never gave her a reason to suspect anything. She's paranoid because of her thing, or because after her thing, I stopped drinking and lost 100 pounds. So thinks I'm going to cheat on her as payback. I had a YouTube channel. She never supported me. I worked full time and graduated college. She never supported. I wrote a book and she never supported that either. But she calls me while I'm at work and calls me a bitch because I can't see, or because she can't see my location. I told her she's taken enough and done enough damage and she needs to find somebody else that she can walk all over. Now I'm the bad guy. Okay. I mean, if I'm being honest with you, okay, to your question, is texting cheating? Yeah. Because if the shoe was on the other foot and you were texting some woman and she found out, she would be crying emotional cheating all day long. You know what I mean? Like, if the shoe was on the other foot, she'd be crying emotional cheating all day. Like, you're emotionally cheating on me. That's how she would look at it. 1000%. But because it's her, you know, she's like, nah, that ain't cheating. Oh, I didn't do anything. Oh, I didn't meet the guy and we didn't have sex and I didn't kiss him and this and that. You know what I mean? So it's one of those things where I look at it like, nah, bro. You know what I mean? Like, nah. The fact that you went out and you entertained this dude and I am paying all of your bills, I am paying for your lifestyle and taking care of you is crazy to me. And if I'm being honest with you, yeah, you should leave her. You should leave her because she doesn't respect you. That's what it comes down to. All right. That's the simple fact of all this is that she doesn't respect you. Not one fucking bit does she respect you. She doesn't. She looks at you like, oh, yeah, he does whatever I say and he pays all my bills and he takes care of me and I can do whatever the fuck I want to do. And he's wrapped around my finger. So whatever I say, he's just going to believe me. I'm telling you, she's got no respect for you. No respect for you. And this story proves it. You know what I mean? It proves it 1000%. She's got no respect for you. And all you can do is just leave. That's what it comes down to. You leave. You show her that her life was better with you in it than it was with you out it. Because now, guess what? Now you got to be a big girl. You know what I mean? Now you got to be a big girl. And you got to pay all your own bills and you got to take care of yourself. And you can't blow all your money now. You know what I mean? You got to pay for your own gas. You know? She's going to learn real hard how difficult it, or she's going to learn really quick, how difficult it is to actually live out here and how good she had it. I'm telling you now, you know, and if I'm being honest with you, don't take her back. No, because she's going to come crawling back once it gets hard. Once it gets hard, she's going to be crawling back. Oh, I'm sorry, babe. Oh, I never meant to do that to you and this and that. I'll never do it again. And you tell her, you know, I'm glad that you learned that lesson. Because now the next guy that you get with, he won't have to deal with that. You know? And you move on, bro. Because if you take her back, all that does is show her and reinforce that thought, that mindset that she has of, oh yeah, I can say whatever I want and he'll just bend over and do whatever I say. And, you know, I got him wrapped around my finger and this and that. Oh, that's all it does is reinforce that. And you don't want to reinforce that. You want to let her know, hey, I'm glad that you realize this. That's great. I'm glad that you're working on yourself. And the next guy is going to enjoy that. And you move on, man. You move on. Because you have the means to literally take care of a woman and pay all her bills and all that kind of stuff. You get you an appreciative woman. You know what I mean? You get you one that actually is going to appreciate being put in that position. You know what I mean? Yeah, that's what I say. You guys let me know what you think about it in the comments, though. All right, on to our last scenario for today's episode. If you got this far in the episode, thank you guys so much for listening and watching, all that good stuff. Again, patreon.com/MyTheAsshole Podcast. Get an exclusive episode every single Friday, as well as being able to send in your scenario to be featured on the Tuesday and Sunday show like these lovely people did for today. Audio listeners, thank you for all the support. I thank you guys so much for coming every week and downloading the episodes, rating us 5 stars and all that good stuff. Follow us on Instagram, TikTok, as well as subscribing on YouTube. All that is free and it helps out so much. Let's get into our last one. Okay. Should I expose him or not? All right. I recently discovered that someone I know has been cheating on his wife. They have a baby girl together, and he's been unfaithful since before her pregnancy and continued throughout it. I found out that he has 2 Tinder profiles and has been talking to several other women. He lied about his age and his relationship. He even tried to approach me and talk to me in a way that clearly wasn't friendly or family related, which is what led me to look further into the situation, gather proof. However, I'm still unsure whether I should expose him to his wife or not. It's also worth noting that his wife and he are from different countries, and he's been cheating with women from his own country. Please let me know what's the right thing to do. The right thing to do would be to tell her. You know what I mean? It would. But at the same time, I wouldn't, just because you don't know how this guy is going to react. He could get violent. He could get aggressive. He could, try to do something to sabotage you, or, you know what I mean? Like, you just don't know how he's going to respond. Now, sure, you could do it anonymously, you know what I mean, and try to keep it hidden and stuff like that. But again, it is still putting you at a safety risk, and you never know if he might find that out or just even accuse you. He might not have any proof, and he just might accuse you. And put you in, your safety in danger over that. So that's kind of the reason why I kind of look at it like I wouldn't do it, just off of safety reasons, because again, you don't know how this dude is going to react. He's going to look at it like, oh, you nosy ass bitch, you did this and that and blah, 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 blah. Now my family is destroyed, even though it's his fault. But, he's going to fucking take the narcissistic route and sit there and blame everybody else, for his bullshit and cheating. And that's why I kind of look at it like, again, it is a tough situation, because it is the right thing to do to tell her, because she has a right to know. But at the same time, is it worth putting your life in possible risk? So that's going to be one of those things where you're going to have to think about that. You are going to have to think about your well-being in this situation, because, you got to understand, when a man loses everything, he looks at it like, I ain't got nothing left to lose. So yeah, I'm going to fuck this bitch up. Whether I'm going to beat her up or I'm going to kill her or whatever I'm going to do, he looks at it like, I ain't got nothing else to live. My wife left me. My kids don't want to see me. She not letting me see my kids. You know what I mean? It puts him in that mode of desperation where he looks at it like, I ain't got nothing left to lose, so I'm going to go balls to the walls crazy. So that's why I say that could be very dangerous for you. And that's the only reason why I say that. Again, do what you're going to do. I think it is the right thing to tell the wife. And if you do that and say, your safety isn't in jeopardy, and you do tell her, then hey, it's a great thing. I'm for it. I'm for it. I think she has a right to know. Because homeboy's a piece of shit and he's doing that. Now you may tell her, and because they're from a different country, she might be like, well, that's what the men of our country do. She might say that too. You never know that. They are from a different country. They might have different culture. They might have different, beliefs. You never know. So that might be another thing too. And then you kind of look dumb and you're just like meddling and shit, and then that's like kind of awkward. So there's that angle as well. All I'm saying is these are your three options. These are the three angles. There's, you tell her you did the right thing, and you know what I mean, your life's not in jeopardy, or your safety is not at risk. Or you tell her and then your safety's at risk because he loses everything and he feels like he has nothing left to lose. Or you tell her and she looks at it like, that's our customs. That's just what we do. That's the men of our country. It is what it is. So you choose. If I'm being honest with you, you choose. You know what I mean? So that's going to be in there to today's episode, man. Hope you guys enjoyed. Appreciate you guys all for coming out on a beautiful Tuesday to listen to the episode and hang out with your boy through all the craziness that is the thread, as well as the craziness that is the scenarios for today. So I love you guys all. I will see you on Thursday and we continue our book, King of Wrath. And yeah, that'll be it for me for today. Love you guys all, and peace.